It's 6 weeks since the 5 tree change families were chosen. With some of the families already in their $1-a-week farmhouses, the committee gets together for a catch-up.
Yeah, we're all a little bit concerned in some ways of how this first little stretch is going to go. It's pretty crucial that the settling-in period runs quite smoothly. Before we go on to that, does anyone want to talk about town gossip and what's going on around the traps? anyone talking about it, or what's...
I was across the street the other day. It was really funny. I must have heard that Ben's tenants were Muslim. She said, well, the Arabs have moved to Trundle. I've always worried this day would come. Well, I don't know if it was a bit tongue-in-cheek or if she was being a bit serious. You never can tell, though.
I would personally like to go and say, well, what's the go? Like, can we invite them around for a beer and have a beer, or do they frown on that? Because I don't know anything about their culture. Yeah. Not one thing.
Before they applied, when she called me, she said, Cara, give me the God's honest truth about what's going on, how would we be perceived? And I said, look, you're always going to have your knockers because you're different, so-called being different. And she said, we get stared at in Sydney because people think that we're a terrorist.
You'll never offend them. They know all that sort of stuff goes on. They know that's part of our culture as well.
Yeah.
So.
Christy's very upfront.
But I'd like to be able to have a ground root start and say, well,
you want to find out a bit more about their culture, basically.
That's it. Full stop.
The next day, Farmer Ben is a welcome sight to the Ellimums.
How are you, mate?
How you going, bro?
Got some yard water for you.
I know where's.
He's brought a new water pump to help solve their smelly water problem. And a job offer.
I was going to ask you while I've got you, but next week we're shearing, and I was wondering whether I could employ you for a few days for that. Would that be possible, or...?
Didn't have an experience, but...
Mate, no experience needed. Consider this as a job interview. It'll be about 4 days, but if you're keen. But it's dead easy.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no worries.
So
give it a try.
Tuesday till Friday.
Yeah, no worries.
We'll give you full on-the-job training.
Be good.
No worries, mate. I'll see you in the morning. Every time I come in, there's a few more boxes unpacked, so it gives me a bit more confidence that they're going to stay. I hope they do, because, look, I really like them, and I think they'll be great for our community. I think the community will be great for them.
When you're calling about farm, because I have like a couple mates around Sydney, you got farmer, and the farmers there is different areas. Like, it's different. Even the farmer in Sydney, you got swimming pool in the backyard. It's, this.
Is that a tin roof?
Yeah.
The next family to arrive are Claire and Tony Moore, the nurses from Canberra.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
They're about to see their farmhouse for the first time. At 70 k's out of town, it's a long way if you run out of milk. Wow. Landlords David and Mary Watt are there to give them the grand tour.
Nice to meet you, finally. Hi, Mary and Claire. How are you? What do you think, Grace? Big step. Oh, wow. This is great. This is cosy. Yeah. Can you work with it? There's no snakes hiding behind the toilet.
And this room's as big as our house.
It's better than what I thought. I always aim for the worst and hope for the best. But it's not too bad, because there are some doozies out there, and I think this is quite manageable. And
it's not exactly the Hilton, but the Moores have struck it lucky. Their landlord at least has some cash to spend.
We've had a good year, whereas the last 7, 8 years with the drought, the last thing on our mind's been renovating a house. So it's kind of, the timing's working like that for us, yeah. Septic, yeah, I'm not sure.
Tony gets the lowdown on how to kickstart the septic tank, Trundle style.
Looks like there's water in it, so you might have to get yourself a dead cat to put in there maybe, I'd say, at some stage. Okay. Well, because it hasn't been used for that long, all the bugs and everything have died off, so they reckon you throw a dead cat in there and it gets them started. Good. And they don't smell. I don't know, yeah. That's what the old fellas tell them. Yeah. So
better lock up your cats. Over at the Gurkhas, the honeymoon's over. Dan's kids have managed to bust some of the floorboards on the veranda, and the owner's not impressed.
You can see here they've bashed a couple in here. These boards are so old and so brittle that they break like that. So they're a danger to anybody who's walking on this veranda, basically. Now, they've broken a couple more from here and a couple more from here, but obviously the ones that they've broken are obviously brittle and, you know, needed to be pulled up anyway. I mean, these things happen when you've got small kids. And our owner thinks that we're financially liable for his rotten boards, you know. But the way he said it to me, we're supposed to replace them. It really pisses me off because Kylie and I have spent the last 2 weeks working every day of the week on doing something to this place, and the gratitude is just overwhelming, the lack of it, I should say. It's turning into a Nightmare on Elm Street type deal, you know?
If you want one.
The veranda over at the Moores farmhouse is also old and rotten. Each farmer has struck their own deal with their tenant on how much they'll contribute to the renos. The Moores landlord agrees to pay for all the materials, and some of the locals kick in the labour for free.
Yeah, I can sort of see us at least sitting out here on sunlit afternoons, trying to get away from the heat and maybe having a barbecue or something like that.
A week of hard yakka, and the farmhouse is finally ready for the patter of little feet.
Yeah, what do you think? Is it pretty good? Where does it go? Let's see. Oh, I love it.
But Dan's just found out that his landlord won't pay for any of the much-needed fix-ups at their place.
They did say when we first did it that the owners might decide not to put money into it, but when your place needs so much money put into it, you can't do it. We're a family of, 6 people, 4 kids, and minimum wage makes it harder on us because we've got to come up with all the materials and bits and pieces ourselves.
Trundle is classic sheep country, and this lot are ripe for shearing.
Go back, go back, go right back, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back.
Farmer Ben is waiting for Nabi, his new recruit, to turn up for work. There are 400 sheep to be shorn today, and Ben is one man down. Nabi is a no-show.
It made for a busy day. We were short for most of the day. It's proving a little bit difficult, and I have to say I'm not at the end of my tether, but I'm very, very frustrated with it. And at some stage, he's really got to get up and have a bit of a go for himself. Can't keep chasing him forever.
Ben found out a few days later that Nabi didn't turn up for shearing because one of his kids was sick. Dan Gurkha is desperate to set up a handyman business and start earning some money. So he's bought himself a second-hand ute.
Where'd you get the ute from?
In Trundle, darling.
How much?
2,000.
2?
2. Bit expensive, isn't it? No, it's good.
And how's
good.
How was it on dirt road?
Good. Good. Goes well. What do you reckon? Logo sprayed onto the side, my wife will do that, and then it's basically ready for action. We've spent in excess of $7,500
getting closer to the 10 mark.
Getting closer to the 10 mark, getting down here and getting established. It's important to start earning some
vital
income.
We start.
Yeah, vital. Yeah, that
we start earning some sort of income.
Start earning some kind of income.
Get the cash roll happening again.
It turns out Dan might have been taken for a ride.
See this edge here? It's worn so far in on the caliper. That road has had it. It just means that it's a danger to be driven. I realised it was an old ute when I bought it, but I just didn't realise it was quite that bad. We're feeling the strain of having spent the last bit of money on things that are, how can I put it, not very useful. So I don't know what we're going to do, sweetheart. More money.
Back in town, the ever-helpful Doll Wright has opened up a storeroom of goods donated for the tree changes.
Christy, just wondering if you're looking for anything in particular.
We're just really looking for a stove because I can't get the other one to bake.
Well, we've got 2 or 3 that I know of, so do you want to wait to have a look at them?
Well, I'll wait for Nabi to come and he can decide which one he wants. There's one stove inside, but she's just ringing. It looks all right, it's missing a handle, but some of the elements are starting to rust. And so she's going to call about the other one. And then the paint and the tiles is over there. So you can go and have a look inside. There's some tubing and some guttering and some bits of wood and stuff.
Honestly, don't worry. This only just like a couple of weeks and us is gonna move. You know, just don't worry. Come. Well, she said every single year before.
No, they didn't, Nabi.
Yeah.
That's not what they said. And it's very frustrating that you don't.
Huh? Huh?
Nothing. My bag's over there.
What are you? What are you?
Nothing. You want to go home? Yeah. Okay. All right, I've got to... What's happening? We're going home.
Next time on Country Town Rescue.
I haven't had any interviews on the farmers, what sort of characters are putting up these houses. You know, for all we know, they could be bloody mass murderers or anything, you know, I mean...
So it's the same thing that he keeps bringing up all the time. It's an issue between himself and his landlord, and he needs to be the one, and the landlord needs to be the one to sort it out between themselves.
Roger's there. I think he'll be very, very proud that we've done this.
No, they've let us down, sweet. Don't be sorry. They've let us down.